Hello everyone, I'm Lina, and as you can see from the title of this video today, I'm going to share with you my story of how I learned 5 languages and some tips on the way that I find out for myself, and hopefully will help you to achieve your goals too. But to start with, my country has 2 national languages, which is Russian and Belarusian. In my family, we prefer to speak Russian more rather than Belarusian, but I can speak both of those languages. At the age of 7, I started to learn my first foreign language. It was French, and I had some bad experience with it as I totally didn't understand why I need to learn it. Why? The reason was actually because we had a bad at school, that's why. But at the age of 7, I totally didn't understand that. At the age of 9, I changed my school and I had to catch up with the level of my classmates who've been studying English for 2 years by that time. So I need to practice a lot, and that motivated me a lot. When I was 12, I started to learn Polish. Polish also wasn't that easy for me that time, and I gave up a few times, and then at 14 I go back to that language and start to learn it hard. Then I go to study in Poland, and my major was actually English, but for 1 year of studying I'm thinking that it was quite boring for me to learn it as a major, as we had a lot of British literature that I didn't like. I mean, British Asian literature was quite boring for me as I wasn't a fan of it at all. So I decided to change my major to Chinese study, and my scholarship said yes, and I passed all exams, and yeah, that's how I started learning Chinese. My second year I go to China as an exchange program student, which helped me to improve in my Chinese, but I would say I did a big mistake, is that I had a lot of foreign friends in China and I mainly stay in touch with them all the time. So after classes we go to eat together, we will use like Polish, English, not Chinese at all. So I would say my Chinese improved as for writing and reading, and maybe like know some vocabulary but never use it. It was a big mistake for me. Still, it helped me to improve in other languages. My third year of university, we had to start learning Korean language. For this, I would say I was looking forward to start learning it that time. I was a big fan of Korean dramas and Korean culture, and I really look forward to study. But for me, I don't think I need Korean that much in my life, so pretty much after university I didn't use it at all. While I was at university, we also had a lot of Ukrainian students who are actually speaking Ukrainian back to you all the time, so it also helped me to understand their language and learn it from how they speak. And I can speak it too, but I just don't really like to use it. And while I'm here in Hong Kong, I also thinking of starting learning Cantonese. I feel like I need to know this language too, as usually I live in a country the language I do understand, and yeah, that's I think a great motivation to start learning languages. So pretty much the languages I can speak is Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian, Polish, English, and Chinese. Chinese I would say is not that good level, as after I graduated I also didn't use it that much, and right now I'm trying to improve it as well and talk more using Chinese to other people, which I still feel very shy. So yeah, this is my story as it comes to how I learned those languages. Now I'm gonna share with you some tips that I think, some mistakes that I made, and it could be improved. If I were in the beginning, I will totally try to make sure I will not do those mistakes again. So the tip number 1, I would say that you need to start learning a language from the most commonly known words and ignore grammar in the very beginning. Just find the words, like for Chinese they have a HSK1 exam which has around I think 50 to 100 words, not sure, which are the most commonly used, and once you know those words you can combine it together and build sentences already, which is great in the very beginning. Tip number 2 is to use flashcards. I usually write down it myself. So on one part you write English word, and on another one it will be a Chinese word, and you swap it in order to repeat For Chinese, you actually have a Flashcards app, which is great for this. And there is another app like Anki or something. I'm not using this one, but I've heard a lot of people using it, and it can help you to memorize the words, to repeat it. I use it all the time. I took it with me when I like eating or anything, and just go through it every time I had like a minute. So tip number 3 is to surround yourself with the language, but that really doesn't mean that you need to move to the country where people speak this language, as I would say it didn't work for me. Usually in that country you're like get distracted, you're using your language, you're looking for people who speak the same language. So I would say that means that you need to watch movie in this language, or watch some YouTube, or you're trying to find some friends who are a native speaker of this language, and you can have some exchange. So you really need to put some effort and find a way how you can surround yourself with this language, but it definitely worth it. And yeah, you basically need to learn the language before you go to this country, so that you can improve your language more once you are here, so you are not that shy of talking and you actually have some vocabulary to talk to other people. Number 4, maybe that's a little bit similar to tip number 3, but I would say you do not have to spend a lot of money on expensive classes, as a lot of material is actually available online, and if you find a friend or a YouTube channel or some books are also free, and it will help you in the beginning. Really a lot of opportunity to learn the language online without spending any money. Tip number 5, and it's a little bit is a mistake I made with my Chinese, is that to know the language and to speak the language is two different things. And you need to remember that knowing a language is mainly of being able to speak this language. So you need to speak it daily, and basically you speak to other people using this language, or you speak to yourself. Tell yourself how your day go. Speak to yourself in the car or while taking shower, whenever taking breakfast. Tell yourself how your day goes, and just use the simple words. It will still help you to memorize it and to practice before actually speaking to someone native. And tip number 6, and maybe this one I'm not really always using, as you can hear from my English, but you need to work on your accent and intonation, so that I think other people can understand you better. And once you will hear a compliment like, oh, you sound like a native speaker, it will be so good to hear. And yeah, I think this is the motivation you are looking for. So yeah, that was my 6 tips in learning foreign languages. I hope you have a wonderful journey in your language learning process. Have a good day. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.